Alright, welcome to another video, ladies and gentlemen. What we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be showing off the landing mode of the auto throttle, or Authoria. And the great thing about this mode, of course, is that it will turn itself off automatically below 30 feet. Now, compared to the last video, for some people were wondering why I wasn't online for most of yesterday, other than when I posted the video. I was very busy. I had an essay with Airbus. We're supposed to have an interview this year, so everyone was supposed to come July, all the applicants in the internship program. Fortunately, Corona's come, so that has pushed that back next year. So we're doing a bit more exams than we would before, which is all fine. It gives me another year at least to really think if this is where I want to go into. And I slept for then after the exam for most of the day. So today, most of my students and the competition clients will be coming on today to have again to continue practicing, because the airport has been shut whilst this has been worked on, and more importantly the autopilot, because of how the system has changed. The autopilot has also gotten a big TLC, which is in the process of a makeover, and all these updates that we're taking a bit of time with basically makes, as I say, the rest of the plane updates are coming very fast, because it's just less optimization. As we perfect our system, it gets better. And I didn't ever think when I was making a realistic kit that it would ever get this realistic, to the point where if you miss certain systems, it makes the plane, as it would real world, very, very hard to fly. So the yaw damper, the auto trim, etc., having them on now makes the plane miles better to fly, and will make all the other planes upcoming as we perfect the system miles better. So anyway, let me explain Authoria again if you didn't see the previous video. Currently we have it on the continuous auto throttle setting. This setting basically will disregard even if you're below the Airbus stated. So Airbus's auto thrusting system, we've designed this of course since the A350. Below 30 feet, if you have auto throttle on, it will turn itself off when you're below 30 feet. And the reason it does that is because you're not going to make it go around when you're below 30 feet. You would have had adequate time, at least I believe above minimums, to have gone around. And if you did not go around above the minimums, then of course you are committed to that landing. Now, when you're below 30 feet on an Airbus plane, not only does the auto throttle retard the throttles to idle, it will also turn itself off. And there is another system on Airbus known as the flare mode, where it will start to push the nose down, and then the pilot instinctively will want to push the nose up to get that flare. That's exactly what the Airbus flare mode does, because if you do make a perfect approach on an Airbus plane, more importantly the A350 and the A320 before, it would have felt very unnatural to just glide onto the runway with barely any flare. So what they decided to do is to get the system to push the nose down, so it would push the nose to 2 degrees depending on where you arrived. So if you were, say, you arrived at 6 pitch at 50 feet on the radio altimeter, it would take a snapshot of that pitch you arrived on, and then it will move the nose at 30 feet in about 8 seconds to minus 2 degrees pitch. And of course you'll be expected to pitch up to counter that, which gives you that flare. Of course I don't have that on here, but it could be very easily put on. I may eventually put it on. That does require of course a very stable auto trim, which at the moment our auto trim is only about 85 to 90% very stable. So anyway, let's get straight into the video. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go set my landing speed. Okay, so this is the speed I want it to be close to when touching down. Now because this is the MTO A350, and technically we never land on MTO because the fuel reserves etc would have been gone by then. Of course the A350 can land at 135 knots, but because this is much heavier, that's not, of course, much possible with this plane, because it's the ento plane, it's not the maximum landing weight plane. So what I'm going to, of course, set is that I have a 145 knot speed as a result. So the auto throttle there has set itself now to 0, because I am trying to maintain a 145 speed, okay? And now when it notices, of course, as you can see, that that is different, it will put itself there. So I put the gears down, auto trim myself so I feel miles better on the approach. Putting the flaps down, as you can see, the auto throttle responds to the more increased drag from the flaps as we're coming in. And thus now when we have our flaps, which we do at flaps 2, we're going to give us more thrust in. We're going to make our turn. We're going to auto trim ourselves there just a bit more. We did lose a bit of altitude there, no surprise. And now what it's going to keep doing, as you can see, is keep on going up and down. It's going to put us more thrust in. Also, it does check that if you're reaching the stall, it will go and try and tug itself up. Again, auto trim. I have to auto trim myself. Now, the only minor issue, as I said, the auto trim is only about 85 to 90% stable at the moment, so I still have to retune her. And thus, what we aim to have by the completion of this auto trim system is that when you do press the middle button to trim yourself, it won't send you flying too much, like it sometimes does before auto trims. So now I'm feeling miles stable. We're going to take the continuous straight in. And also, for some people who are wondering, what does ignore, there's a model we have called ignore GPWS. What does that do? That's a very important model. As you see, I'm flying over these high city blocks, and if you didn't have in the ignore GPWS these buildings, for example, if we were to fly over that now, and say for some reason you were very low over one of the buildings, now if you're using this, the landing phase of the auto throttle, what will happen is the auto throttle will disconnect. It will think it's over the airport runway, and it will disconnect itself. The same will go for the auto trim and the yaw damper. So you really don't want certain things that you don't want in the path to start giving you like call outs and etc., or the cruise brake. So I put all the stuff that I don't want the GPWS to see as this certain thing, and I put them in there, that model, and it ignores them. So we're coming in a very good for me approach at the moment. I'm not going to touch anything all the way until hopefully touchdown, and then all I gotta press once it turns off, even before it turns off, but I would like to do it once it's turned off. All I gotta press now is gonna be the reversers, and the reversers will take us down. I felt the slight change in CG just now, so auto trim myself, feel much better after that. I actually didn't have to do the auto trim, but it's advised if you feel any change in CG on approach, just click the little middle mouse button, or alternatively use keyboard mode, because keyboard mode will always auto trim itself on minimum approach. So it feels like a great approach for me now, probably one of my best approaches.
100 above.
And that's mainly because I'm not touching the throttle. It's maintained the speed
100.
pretty well. I'm going to reach now the touchdown approach.
50, 40,
what disabled itself there
30,
was the auto trim.
30, 20.
Pretty long landing there. I did come in very, very hard, I thought. And that's probably just because I wasn't watching what I was doing. But you saw the autothrottle turn itself off. Very hard landing. Has responded from the sound. The sound is incredibly loud now. we didn't bust the gear. Now, of course, you do not ever want to land at minus 486. I don't even know if I was focusing. I wasn't focusing well, but hey, that's the beautiful landing. Other than the actual touchdown. But as you see, Authoria here is turned off. The last speed was 145, and it did maintain 145 all the way down. It was around the tolerance level of -5 and +5 speed, and we came down pretty well. Just there wasn't any focus on the flaring on my side. That's a fault of mine. But that was beautiful. I didn't have to do anything but press the reverses when we were on the ground. I can now just put the flaps up. But that's the system there. It's turned off now. If I was to take off, I would use the takeoff part. Not the takeoff, but I'd use the continuous thrust. You wouldn't really use the continuous thrust on this version of Authoria, because, as some of you know, the extended autopilot has its own, and that's a bit more advanced in terms of you can set the maximum percentage, the auto. Oops, we don't have any flaps, so we can't. We took off very, very slowly because no flaps there. But yeah, you can set the takeoff parameter in terms of, if you say you want the plane to take off at 180 thrust, or to have the autothrottle at 180 thrust, sorry, 180 speed, not thrust. What it will do is you will have the ability, of course, like in real world, to set the maximum thrust, throttle, sorry, not thrust, that the plane can reach or achieve. So right now, of course, if the plane notices it's too slow, it would always go and toga itself. But if you had the extended autopilot, you could set that it can only go up to your flex setting. And your flex setting, say if it was 91 as on the top says, it would only reach 91 on the throttle. But if you wanted it to reach toga, of course you'd put 100 on the top. But this is only really matters when fuel consumption and etc. really come into play. For now, really, most people just straight up toga because there's no depth to doing that. Now I'm actually going to repeat the landing again. I'm going to try that again because why not? And I'm not going to put the gears up because anyway it's already too late to put them up. I don't want to put them up and then put them down. So we're going to switch our modes now. I should have probably set that, to be fair, I should have probably set that way earlier. I should have set that miles earlier than before. Using the landing part of the auto thrust, or if you're going to use the auto thrust, I would auto throttle for landing. I'd advise setting it at a higher speed when you're not near the approach. So if you're not actually on the glide scope or you're not on the approach, you would never set it at the speed you want it to land straight away. Pilots would only do that when they're actually on or close to the glide scope, so they're not going to make a turn like I'm doing now. And as you can see, of course, the result of doing that is going to be that the plane is just going to be a lot more harder to fly in terms of keeping it up, and that just makes sense. You don't have a lot of energy to make that speed. So as you can see, I'm constantly pressing the auto trim to try and get some upward trim, but of course that's not going to do too much if the plane is not in the right config in terms of speed. So never, of course, do what I've done and set your auto thrust to a low value like it is now, because the result, of course, is that you're going to be eventually too low on energy and the plane is going to want to stall. Luckily for now, it's gone and put itself higher, and you can see the result is we're just struggling to get some lift. So I would advise set your speed, if you're on approach, set your speed to your approach speed. So this 145 is my touchdown speed. I would usually set my speed to 10 miles per hour more than my approach speed, for landing. So the Airbus 900, A350-900 at maximum landing weight has a approach speed of 147 knots. So ideally, you'd either have had an approach speed of 157, and then set the touchdown speed afterwards when I'm on the glide scope to the 145. So now we're gonna use the altitude. We are a little high on the glide right now. But it should be a great approach regardless anyway. So we're gonna make the sweep and turn right now to line up for this is supposed to be runway, let's see, runway 5. I think it's 05. This is supposed to be 05, and on the other end is 225, so runway 23 on the other side. And so now we should be on a good approach, actually, surprisingly. On a good approach. It looks like I can see the runway, of course, line up. I'm gonna quickly set my auto trim because I know at this point somewhere, there we go, it would have changed the CG for approach. So we're on there, perfect glide it looks like. Auto throttle is gonna try and maintain the 145. I'm gonna try and arrest the speed at which I'm coming down now, because I didn't notice I was coming down very quickly. Gonna now raise that down.
Minimum.
Right, looks like
100 above.
Approach again. It should have probably been a little lower, but that's fine.
100.
Auto trim should kick itself out there, so auto trim is out now.
50. 40.
Again, another
30. 20.
landing. Watching that there. That looks like a float. That looks like a float. A very bad float. Oh well. But it's a much smoother landing. Hey, that looks like a float for me right there. But we touched down very low, so 136, which is amazing. Much lower than before. I know that the touchdown speed of the A350 is 135. So your touchdown speed doesn't matter. What matters is your approach speed and the speed you hit the runway. Now I actually didn't use any brakes, and as you can see the result is that we used up a lot of the runway already. I'm using my brakes now. And there's the result. So as you can see, Authoria turned itself off already, which is brilliant. That's what I wanted it to do. It smells better now because I don't have to touch and dab with the throttle so much now. You can only crash, as I said to people, you can only crash this A350 if you're just absolutely terrible at flying, or if you've made mistakes, and you've made mistakes that you can't correct. So as you saw, I made mistakes in setting my landing, my touchdown speed way ahead of the glide scope. So of course, if I have to make a sweep and turn, I need more power. So you should never set your landing speed when you're on approach or coming in and you're not on the glide. And so, as I said, so for this one, this is the MTO plane. So my advice when it is released, because I haven't changed the weight, of course, because this is not hasn't got the fuel legend, where it changes its weight, etc. Because I've said it's MTO, your approach speed is going to be around definitely 145. If you go any lower, it usually is going to slam the plane. And by the time there, you'll notice exactly why. So 145 is your touchdown speed. That's the aim, what you want it to be. When you're over the 50 marker, of course you can touch down any slower, of course, and still be fine. It's just your the speed above 50 feet is what we call your touchdown speed. So that's 145. Your approach speed will always be 10 miles per hour or 15 more than that, so that would be 155, or if it's 15 more than that, 160. And then your of course takeoff speed, I don't exactly know the takeoff speed of this M2 plane. It should be very fast though, around 147. I believe it's 147 for M2. The 900 version is 147. On the flaps 1F config, I believe this is 1F. 15 degrees should be 1 plus F. And 1 plus F is simply the slats plus some flaps. That's what they call the 1 plus F. Flaps 2 is then the actual flaps. I believe that is 20 degrees. Flaps 3 should be 30, so that's actually the landing flaps we use now. And then if you, for some unknown reason, needed flaps 4, then you would use flaps 4. Flap 4 is like really extreme conditions. You wouldn't really use it in most conditions on the A350, because the A350 real world is a plane that loves to fly, so the pilots know that they barely have to use a lot of flaps on both landing and takeoff to get the bird into the air. Anywho, we're done with this. We're pretty much done with this video. And again, I did tell everyone that there wasn't going to be any more bloopers, of course, with me flying. Until there's of course not been any bloopers, I believe, minus not paying attention on landing. I am going to, after this video, I am going to finish just quickly adding these on, put the status thing here, so it says status off, and then I'm going to call my clients again, in terms of the students, the students and the competition people, to come back again and have their practice flying. Meanwhile, I'm going to be trying to finish the remaining of the update. As I said, it was the auto trim, the autopilot to be worked on again, and finish those off. And the remainder of stuff is then to reconnect all of the co-pilot stuff back in. So the only things I changed on the co-pilot as a result of changing the engine system is the engine thrusts, because I changed all the percentages and stuff. I have to reconnect that so that the autopilot, the co-pilot system knows where exactly all the individual pieces are. Then I've got to change and make sure that the change pilot thing function works again, because there have been a few readies that have changed, so got to make sure that works. These are really the small easy bits that's just like finding the bits and pieces you changed. So as I said to my clients, the update should be very soon, hopefully by this week, by next week, sorry, it will be out. And then that's the A350 hopefully done. The next optimization I'm going to do before the A380 is just a taquito, and it's really simple. I've been working on a new and a minor change system for it. It's going to get that so it will be able to move to A350, and the system does it a lot more easier than before. Have that done, release that, and I'm also going to make it modular, so it's a lot more easier for me to add new planes in on time. Again, we want to thank all our clients for being very supportive, for being patient. You're pioneers in something that we're trying to achieve, and thus it does take some time to get things perfect, but at the end result, of course, as everyone knows, it's a miles better plane. People that have come actually and tested the new update are like, this is miles better than what it was before. And that's what we want to hear, because we don't want to work on an update right now and nothing's changed, it's still the same old. So to hear that it's not just, oh yeah, this is better, it's miles better, tells us really the difference we had and how important this change is. And so yeah, we're pretty much done here. And that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for joining us, and again, we hope to have a new video with a new bird, the A321 eventually. And as I said, we're gonna be reusing that beautiful launch assembly we had before for the A350. We're gonna be using that for our A321 when she's done. And she's going to be very quick, because all I have to do, as I said, and I've been nearly done with her model, is do her model, put her into Roblox, and then put this same kit that's in the A350 onto the A321, tweak the physics so that it works for the A321, specifically the engine sounds, of course. We have those beautiful IAEs and those beautiful CFM, equip those on, and then get our bird by the arrows to make sure they certify it and everything is fine. So yay. My personal favorite plane, as everyone knows, is of course the A350. I love the beautiful plane. And my favorite small plane, of course, is the A220, because that's the baby bus. For me, that's the true baby bus. Sorry, A318. It's the true baby bus. I really like it because it just looks like a mini A350. Anyway, enough rambling by me. Thank you for watching the video, and see you later.